Welcome to the Successful Goal Setting tutorial. In this tutorial, we will talk through the basics of goal setting. We will look at where you should start when thinking about goals for next year, then look at each letter in the SMART acronym to understand the different components of a goal. Finally, we will review some resources available for your use on the Employee Resources site. Goal setting always begins by understanding how your work contributes to the county's strategic plan and organizational priorities, as well as your department's goals and projects. Think about the questions on these slides. To review the strategic plan and organizational priorities, consult the goal setting page on the Performance Appraisal site. A link to that page was included in the email announcing this tutorial. Once you've reviewed the strategic plan, organizational initiatives, and your department's strategic plan, goals, and project plans, it's time for you to do some brainstorming. Blue sky brainstorming is when you think about things you'd like to do without considering potential constraints. Spend some time thinking about strategic plans and how you might contribute. Is there work that needs to be done in your department that you could contribute towards, such as projects that were put on the back burner during the pandemic? Are there processes that need to be documented? Are there processes that need to be reviewed and modernized? What new skills would you like to develop over the next 6 months or a year? Once you have your initial list, you can get feedback from peers and your supervisor, who may give you additional ideas or help you refine your current ones. Next, it's time to revisit the strategic plan and organizational initiatives to make sure your ideas are aligned with the work of the organization, your department, and your individual priorities before proceeding to the next step. Once you've figured out some general ideas for what sorts of goals you might set, you can work on turning them into SMART goals. Studies consistently find that clear, concise goals that are well defined have a much higher chance of being achieved. SMART is an acronym to remind you of the 5 different components of a good goal. We will go through each of these letters in the next few slides to break down what each of them means. For each of these components, we have listed a series of questions to consider. These questions are also available for reference on the goal setting page, so you don't need to worry about writing them down as we go through this tutorial. First is specific. Here are a few questions you can ask yourself in order to make your goals specific. As you consider each question, jot down notes and responses, because those will help you both in drafting your goal and in developing your plans for how to achieve the goal. Measurable helps keep you on track as you work towards your goal. To determine if your goal is measurable, ask yourself the questions on this slide. The idea behind these questions is helping you to identify your end point so that you will know when you have reached your goal and been successful in doing so. The A in SMART goal can actually mean several different things. Attainable, aggressive, and agreed upon are the most frequently used words here. Our primary focus is on crafting attainable goals, and part of making them attainable is answering the questions on this slide, which are really aimed at getting you to start thinking about resources you will need, as well as potential obstacles and how to overcome them. If you think of the A as standing for aggressive, that references making sure your goals are challenging. Your goals should be something that involves some stretching and growth on your part and not some low-hanging fruit. You need to strike the right balance so that you have to push to meet your goal, and the goal should move the needle in some fashion, resulting in visible improvements or accomplishments. At the same time, you don't want your goal to be impossible. When the A stands for agreed upon, that means that both the employee and the supervisor have agreed upon the goal. You as the employee can't define your goals based solely on what you want to do, and likewise, your supervisor can't define all your goals without any input from you. You and your supervisor should engage in conversation to produce goals that support the work of the organization or department and your development simultaneously. Next, we have relevant. Your ability to make your goals relevant depends on starting from a position of understanding the strategic plan, organizational initiatives, and your department's strategic plan, goals, and projects for the next year. How does this goal support the work of the organization, your department, your team, or your professional development? If you don't have a clear answer to these questions, go back to the documents we mentioned at the beginning and look at them again. Talking with your supervisor and coworkers may also be helpful for articulating the relevance of your planned goals. Finally, we have time-oriented. A goal without a time component is not a good idea, so be sure that your goal contains some indication of time. That can be a specific deadline, like by a certain month, day, and year, or it can be expressed in terms of frequency, daily, monthly, or quarterly. The time orientation also offers you a way to start breaking your goal down into smaller pieces. Are there clear steps or milestones that you will reach along the way? If so, attach deadlines to those parts of the work as well to help you manage the work and maintain your momentum as you work on the goal. We're now going to review some tools that are available for your use in drafting your goals. The goal planning worksheet shown here is available on the Employee Resources site. It is part of the resources listed on the goal setting page, which is linked from the performance appraisal page. This is the form that you will fill out as part of the formal goal setting process, but it is designed to help you begin planning how you will achieve your goals by asking questions that should sound familiar from the discussion we've just had about creating SMART goals. The action plan template shown here is also available on the goal setting page. You can use it as part of the goal setting process if it helps you think through how to create SMART goals, and it is also available for use once you've settled on your goals and are ready to start putting them into action. It contains sections where you can begin listing the steps you need to take to complete the goal, as well as target completion dates. In addition, there is a section where you can list out potential obstacles, how you might overcome the obstacle, and the additional resources you would need. Taking the time to think proactively about potential issues can help you identify steps you should add to the first section that would help avoid the obstacle in the first place. When working toward achieving a goal, it's helpful to have one or two people whom you agree to check in with on a regular basis. Keeping others informed on your progress can be a useful external motivator. This network of support form gives you a structure for identifying individuals who will help you succeed with your goals by providing an additional layer of accountability. It asks you to identify your supporters and specify the following: what holding you accountable looks like, how you will communicate updates, and the frequency of your updates. The last stage of goal setting is reviewing your draft goals with your supervisor and revising as necessary until you arrive at goals that both of you can agree upon. Fill out the goal planning worksheet and have your supervisor sign off on it. You can also submit to HR to be included in your personnel file. This is optional. If you want to submit, you can send to your generalist via email or interoffice mail. Thank you for your time and attention to this goal setting tutorial. Good luck with planning your goals for this upcoming year.